Hello, everyone. I am Adrian Bowens.
And I'm Nicole Bowens, and we thank you for tuning in with us for another episode of Marriages of the Kingdom with Adrian and Nicole. We are coming to you from WYTV7 Christian Broadcasters Network out of Charlotte, North Carolina, and we truly appreciate you tuning in with us on today. We are a nonprofit organization, and we do appreciate your donations so that we can continue to build families nationally and internationally. Again, thank you for tuning in with us. And on today, we have a special guest. We have with us Minister and Author Derrell Dean. Thank you for joining us, Derrell.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. I hope you all are having a great day.
Yes, we are. Hope you are as well.
I am.
Yes, wonderful.
All right. So without further ado, we'll get right into the interview, okay? All right. So, Derrell, please share with us a little bit about how long you've been single and some of the things that you encounter as a single man as far as dating or not dating.
Okay. I personally have been single for a few years now. And my reasoning is more because internally, I wanted to develop myself even more because I feel that, a lot of times we leave one relationship and sometimes we jump right into another one, or, it becomes like a rebound situation and we have not fully healed. And I purposely have been single for a few years now, just because it's really, at this point, it's by choice. And it's because I basically choose to, just because I feel that in the position that I have in life and in ministry, that I don't want to jump into anything haphazardly and don't want to jump into anything and just not be the thing that absolutely God wants for me. Because if I go towards another relationship, personally for me, I want it to be the last one. I don't want it to be another one where I'm, guessing if this is something that I'm just in temporarily. And so I purposely have remained single just for that very reason, because I was seeking God and seeking prayer and even just developing myself internally. Because I think a lot of times we're not our best self if we're just bouncing, if you will, if that makes sense, from one thing to the next. So.
And that's good. And this episode is about preparation for marriage. And what you're talking about now is preparing yourself. You're getting prepared. And I like that you stated that a lot of times we do jump from relationship to relationship without dealing with the reason the previous relationship broke down. Yeah. And it's good that you are preparing yourself for marriage. So that is really good.
And another key thing that I heard you say, you mentioned that you're, instead of bouncing around, it's kind of like you're waiting. So talk to us a little bit about what it is that you're doing while you're waiting and what helped you develop the patience that you have.
One of the really key things, I can kind of answer that one quickly, though, as what helped me develop it is that even just looking at my family unit, like my parents have been together for 41 years.
Wow.
And so, and just seeing that relationship and growing up in the house with them there, I saw the example of love and I saw the example of, what it takes to make a marriage work just personally, even growing up. And so those qualities, and for a man, we look for the qualities of our mother. Mm-hmm. I think I shared a little bit of that last year when I was with you all, but in essence, we look for those qualities in our potential mate, because essentially we want someone to be that nurturer. We want someone to be that caregiver, or someone that's loving as well, that knows how to, be from here and there and go from the home to the marketplace and still be consistent in who we are as a unit. And so as a male, I personally, that's what I look for. And so, and just, other things I look for is just someone, especially a young lady, that's in tune with who she is personally, who's strong enough to handle her own. A lot of times, some people say they're fearful of someone being independent enough to handle their own, but that's not a fear of mine. I mean, I feel that, in any successful relationship, each other should complement their particular mate, in essence, that, God would give me a vision to do a certain thing. And my prayer is that my mate would have a vision to do her own thing as well. And I would be able to, assist and help in the times that I can, because, a lot of times we look at sometimes things from a one-sided view. And when we look at things from a one-sided view, we look at it like, oh, you weren't here for me, and I needed you here and this and that, and you expect me to be there for you. And then, it's vice versa, and it's reciprocal in a way that, one side may get all the help and the other may suffer lack. And, I never want that type of relationship to be the focus. And I never want whoever I'm with to feel that her dreams are diminished because I'm living mine. And so I purposely, seek after someone that's really goal driven, seek after someone that has a, desire to do her own thing in life, that I can help with, because there's some things that, that she may have a vision for that I can just be the one holding the cup for. And I would be the one, holding the towel, to be the towel bearer in her essence, and whatever her dream and vision is for her life. And so, and that's what I desire too as well, because I feel that, I have strengths and my mate should have strengths as well, and our strengths should match and never fight each other. I feel that they should always complement each other.
Very good. Amen.
And it's great what you're talking about, and how what you're looking for in a mate, you're looking for that strength. Because like you stated, a lot of times men do sometimes seek women that they feel are inferior to them. Without realizing, men have to have confidence in themselves to be okay with the fact that they are the man and they're still the head as God ordained them to be, whether or not you marry a multimillionaire or whoever it is that you marry. You can make $50,000 a year, she can make $200,000 a year, but you're still the head of the household, and you're still the man. And none of that diminishes who you are as the man if you have a wife that is driven, that does have a vision. It actually enhances the marriage. So it's good that you have that perspective on marriage and what it is you're seeking. It's really good.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel that, essentially, in essence, like that, where situations are like that, where one spouse may make more than the other or so forth like that, that shouldn't be a condemning thing for the other spouse. I feel that should be a plus. I mean, we're in this together. I mean, hey, we're going to grow together. And even if we're not even on that level where one is even greater than the other, or, there's a difference in, their income or whatnot, I would even say, even if we're not even making 50, let's grow together. You know what I'm saying? Like, how can we grow? How can I help you in growing in the area where you feel that, you should be able to gain what you desire in your life? And so I feel that, growth is good. Sometimes people want things instantly, and we live in that generation, and we live in that time where we have, microwave marriages where, we know some couples that they were married with somebody else, and now all of a sudden we see them again with a new spouse, and, and it's nothing, by no means, there's nothing against that. But at the same time, you want to essentially make sure it's something God ordained that you can build with that person. That, you're not just, God, give me somebody right now. I don't want the right now. I want somebody that,
long
that
term
I can work with and build with. Because I feel that, there's some blessings that they're better served to you, and you better receive them once you've worked towards them. There's some things that, you can get only once you've worked towards it. I use an example sometimes, even while preaching, that if you ever seen like the stove, and if your mom was cooking or your dad was cooking, and you put some stuff on the back burner, the stuff on the back burner may have taken a while to cook, but the stuff on the front burners you could work with a little quicker, and because it didn't take quite as long. And there's some blessings, I think, that, they're on the back burner, some relationships on the back burner, and I want them to be fully cooked, and I want it to be fully prepared when it's time, and I want it to be at its best when it's time to serve. And I feel that, there's I want that back burner blessing. I want something that's, well prepared.
That's good. That is good. That's good. That's good. What are some of the things that you encounter as a single man when it comes to dating or not dating?
That is funny. One of the things I encounter is that, for me personally, just of course being, involved in the church and being involved in ministry, for me personally, it's harder for me to sometimes connect with someone because they look at the church or my involvement in it as a demand. And in essence, they look at it as, it's too big of an obligation for me to, be involved in a relationship. And that's been a hindrance sometimes. And I'll be honest to say that, there were times I was serving that, I felt that I could have been working on a relationship. And there were times that, I may have wanted to, do more with, who I was dating at the time, that I was not able to do it. Especially because, with any couple, the weekend is the time that we're like, hey, let's spend time together. And so, but sometimes for me, the weekend is where I'm working, like, and I'm serving and I'm doing what, God has called me to do, that I've been doing all my life. And, in essence, and since I've been doing this since I was a kid, it's just easier for me to do that because that's what I've gravitated towards. And so for those that I've dated that, it's been somewhat of a challenge. They're like, oh, you always at the church. You might as well marry the church. And you might as well, that's your home or whatever like that. And I'm like, no, I'm essentially, and that's something I had to work on years ago, that, Lord, prepare me to be able to distance my time that I'm serving you, in essence, to also allow time for me to better serve whoever I'm with and be in a relationship with that. So that's something, it's been a challenge in a way. Of course, some challenges, anything with, single male, some females, they may want the ministry role to, and you kind of have to have a discernment to be able to decipher, is this someone that's actually seriously wanting to help in ministry, or is this someone that just wants a platform? And, and a lot of times that's been an issue here and there. And then there's, the other cases have been a challenge where someone's like, well, I don't want to be a pastor's wife, or I don't want to be a preacher's wife. And I'm like, no, I mean, essentially you never know the plan that God has for you. And to even just, dismiss yourself even from the plan, you never know even what it could be. And we never know what God is going to do, essentially. But it's been a challenge in that aspect. Though I never take anything from, what I've been called to do, it's been a challenge sometimes just having someone to meet and match where I am.
Yeah, and that makes sense because, even with us, being pastors, it is a challenge. And we all leaders have to learn to have that balance because, I believe once God connects you with that lady that you choose as your wife, at that point, you will get that balance and realize, and we had to learn as well as other leaders that our first ministry is at home. Our first ministry is our spouse. We can't be at the church all the time doing stuff for the church and doing stuff and ministering to other people, and our spouses are in lack. They don't know us. Everybody else knows us. Everybody else looks up to us, and your spouse and kids are like, who are you?
Right.
So the first ministry is at home, and once you get to that place, you will find that balance. You will find that balance, and just like any other leader, they will find that balance. So that's good. That is good.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I turned 30 and I started kind of reevaluating ministry, because I started when I was like 18, 19 years old preaching. And so, and I was immature then, of course. Nobody is fully mature in who they are as a person individually at that age. And so those were things that I've learned over time. But I mean, now that I'm over 30, like I'm running to the house. I mean, there's no lack on that. I'm always home. I'm even there helping with my brother and his children, and helping with my niece and nephew. That's something that I love doing because, and you're absolutely right. Like, we always look at it as God first, family second, and anything else is going to fall after that. And that's always been my desire. My family has been key and crucial to who I am as a person. And so I would never, I always say, we never say what we're going to do, but I've never put anything else before my family, for me personally, because I've never done that. And I thank God I had a grandmother who she, purposely told me, have time for yourself and take time for your family or whatever like that. And they take the time for me. And so I should always do the same for them. And they show up every time. I mean, I'm anywhere. My family shows up for me. And since they do that for me, I in turn should be able to do the same for them. Because, we don't want to, of course, raise a generation that's like, like you said, but who are you? Essentially, you're gone most of the time. TV raised me, or, the internet raised me, and so forth like that. And we don't necessarily we're not the hands. We don't have that hands-on parent role or the hands-on relationship role with our family members. And then, we're looking back over time saying, wow, I missed so much. I missed moments that could have been, beneficial and crucial for who I am and how my family operates now. And never should we, I feel like we should never feel like we're living in regret, or never feel like we're looking back going, God, I missed this, or, I want to get back to time, and we can never get time back. And so, the moments that we have now are very key and crucial to our well-being.
Very good. Okay. Tell us, and as well as our viewers who are watching, some of the things that you do to kind of help you stay focused throughout the wait and the dating and the chase and all of that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's that's a challenge. Of course, as male, a male has desires just as a female does as well. But one of the things that I do personally, I try to find myself developing myself internally a lot of times. And what that entails for me is a lot of reading, a lot of preparing, a lot of focusing on, myself individually and my likes and my dislikes, and just formulating that in a stronger way that, when I'm having conversations with anybody, I can say what I'm willing to stand up for, or what I'm willing to take or tolerate individually. And so what I find myself doing is I spend time with, like I said, spend time with family, spend time with friends in the meantime. I thank God I have a few friends that, are understanding of where I am. A few of them are there as well. So we find camaraderie, whatever, with each other. And so we're thankful for that. And then, some of us are dating, and we're able to communicate, how things are going in that dating process for each other. And so with that, it helps in order to, better ourselves. Like I said, spend time with family, spend time with friends. I try to occupy myself doing the things that I feel that God is calling me to in that moment. And what I mean by that, we'll kind of talk about it in a few moments, but I try to spend time actually seeking God for things that I can do as an individual. Because a lot of times, there are some things that, we are blessed to be able to do with others, but then there are some things that I believe that God himself purposed for us to do on our own. And in that, there's sometimes we can't hear from God because other people are talking to us. And sometimes there are moments where, we cannot be our best self because we're trying to compete with our peers. But when we're separate or when we're alone, I believe that that's a prime time that God really uses us to his best abilities, to our best abilities a lot of times. And so I use my time differently. I use my time trying to seek after God's will for my life, and putting on projects and doing certain things and setting goals for myself is key as well. And so I purposely throughout the year, I try to say, by June, I want to have A, B, and C done. And, by August or September, I want to have something done as well at that time frame. And by setting those goals for myself, it helps me in order to pace myself in life, and it helps me be prepared for things. And of course, we can't prepare for everything, but there's, if we have a plan of action, if we have moments where we can sit down and say, God, use me in this time right now while I am single, use me in my singleness, so that there's no confusion when, anything comes at me and I'm like, I don't know if I like that or not. I know, like, there's no question about, what I'm, what we desire once we have a plan for ourselves. And so I try to plan ahead. I try to be that type of person, but then there are moments where God is spontaneous, and God will send, people your way to help you along the way. And being able to navigate those moments and being spirit-led is the key as well, because I think that as a Christian, as a believer, I feel that once we take on the Spirit of God and the fruits of his Spirit, he allows us to use our time effectively, and he allows us to use what we have in a manner that pleases him.
That's good. That's good. So as a single man, you touched on some of it. What is it that you're seeking in a wife? Because I think a lot of times single women think they know what men want, and they really don't know what men want. And you did touch on, of course, you're looking for someone that has a vision, that is driven, that already knows their purpose in life. Aside from, you being a man in the natural, we all know what men look for in the natural. Men are visual. They see before you see a woman, before you realize she has a brain, so that's the first thing, that's there. Aside from that, on the spiritual side, what is it that you're seeking in a woman? What is it that turns you off from women, that single women can take from this and say, okay, that's actually a turnoff, whereas I thought that was cute, whereas I thought that was appealing to, you know, a man that might be seeking a wife.
Yeah. Okay, that's a great question.
Mhm.
One of the major turnoff for me as a single man is an aggressive female. And a lot of times, I think sometimes a female may think that aggression sets her apart or sets her different from the rest, and where she can take charge of a situation. And and I get that in a way, but I think that's a turnoff as a male, because a lot of times, like, the male wants to be able to show their strength, and as a male, you would want to be able to show that you have the power to take over a situation or consume it or even settle a situation, because there's some things that as a couple you have to settle with each other. And I feel that, as a male, just an aggressive nature is somewhat of a turnoff for me. But one of the things that I purposely look for is an individual, a female that is understanding. That is one thing I look at that people really don't realize a lot. I look at how a female treats other people. And what I mean by that is that, a female can act a certain way in front of a man that, is appealing in that moment for the man, but then they can act completely different in Walmart. So, or, if that makes sense. I mean, we can be a certain way in church that we're not when we're in the store, when we're away from, other people. And so I look for how, a lady treats other people around her. Are you understanding? Are you nurturing? Do you have a gentle spirit? And I look for the fruits of the spirit. And for me, that's been something that, has carried me through in my life individually, is just trying to have that character and the nature of the spirit, where, are you gentle? Are you loving? Are you kind? Do you have faith? And do you have self-control? That's the key for me. Self-control is a major thing for me, because, like, if an individual is not able to handle herself in the public, or not able to handle herself in front of a group of friends or whatever like that, that's a major turnoff. And I feel that, there are moments where, things happen that are a little bit beyond our control. But, still using some manner of self-control, because I don't feel that the Holy Spirit will let any of us be ignorant and use or act out in the spirit of ignorance. So I look for that. I look for self-control. Of course, I look for someone that is a help to others, and I look for those helping characteristics, because essentially that's what we want in life. We want someone to help us. We want to be able to help them as well. And so, not saying that a female has to be completely strong, or not saying that she has to have everything together. But like I said, there should be some things that we would want to desire to grow in as a couple, to be able to say, wow, we have really grown in this area. Like, that thing used to upset me some time ago, but it doesn't upset me anymore. It used to upset both of us. And so just to be able to grow together in that light, that's something I look for somebody to say, you know what, I don't have it together right there. I don't have it together with self-control, but if you will help me, and if we can help each other, that's something a male looks for as well, to say, yeah, let's look for ways where we can use that, and grow together as a couple.
All right.
Okay, what are some of the things that you did talk about, a woman being aggressive? What are some of other things that might be a turnoff? And I do understand the aggression. I come from a family of very strong women.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to learn, I am a divorcee. I had to learn. I thank God for giving me another chance. But there are things that I had to learn, that even though I have strength in certain areas, even though I have knowledge in certain areas, may have more knowledge or strength in certain areas than my husband, I don't have to be aggressive with that. I have to utilize that as a helpmeet, and as opposed to being one that's overbearing and having to show my strength. And I think a lot of times women are very aggressive when they really don't know who they are. Once you know who you are in God and realize who you are in God, you don't have to show that. You don't have to be forceful. You don't have to say, I need you to see me, because you're okay with who you are, as opposed to trying to make yourself being seen and put yourself to the forefront. So that is something that I think is something that, we as women have to learn and grow into a lot of times. Especially, it just depends on our background.
Right. Yeah.
I think some of us are way too aggressive, and then some of us are just way too passive, and get to a place to where they get married, and then one day they're like, I don't have a life. I've just done what my husband wanted me to do.
Wow.
And they're miserable, and they blame their husband.
Yeah, that's true.
When they never expressed or communicated what it was that they wanted out of life. They kind of just stayed in the background. So that aggression, I do definitely understand that. Even now, I have to check myself and, okay, Holy Ghost, help me at times, because at times it does, that demon, it comes up, and I thank God for relationship with him. That helps me to shut that down,
Yeah.
But it is a maturity thing. It is a thing to where when you feel it coming up, you have to lean on Jesus, because if you don't, it will come out. And it is a turnoff, because I've seen women operate like that with their husband, and it doesn't look good at all. Even me looking from the outside, it doesn't look good at all. So definitely understand that. Thank you. We are back. We did have a few technical difficulties, but we're back with Minister Dean. And Minister Dean has shared with us preparation for marriage and what he is doing to wait on his wife. And now he's going to talk with us about two great books that he has. One of the most recent books that he has is Self-Declarations Volume 2. So he's going to talk with us about his book and let us know what we can do to obtain that book and how we can contact him.
Okay, yes, I'm very blessed and thankful to God for being able to sit down long enough to write, and you all know very well what that's like. And so thank God that in just actually a couple weeks ago, I was able to release the second book. It comes from the premise and the background, that we're living a quick social media age, and we don't quickly turn back to God's word for what his word says about us. And so each day has the different I am declarations. It continues from the first volume, which was 40 days. This one is now 60 days. So a total of 100 days to give ourselves back together to God. And so it speaks basically scriptures coinciding with each declaration to state that I am who God says I am, and I can do what God says I can do. And it's been a blessing to me personally to sit down, because essentially whenever you put anything out, you wanted it to touch your heart and reach your heart in such a way that you're confident enough and you feel blessed by what God has allowed you to do. And, the word of God is clear that it says God will make your heart the pen of a ready writer. And so I'm thankful that, I was able to do just that. And the feedback from it has been a blessing so far for those that have it already. And it's available on Amazon. It's available. Both copies are there on Amazon as well. If you type Derrell Dean, DerrellDean, it'll pop right up, or Self-Declarations, and Self-Declarations will pull both copies up. But it's a blessing there. It's $10. It's the first volume is $8 online. Second volume is $12. So it's just a little bit for shipping and so forth. But yeah, and I am signing personal copies as well. My people always get on me about this, to always say about the personal copies can be sent out as well. But if anyone wants a personal copy, they can email me at DerrellDean@gmail.com, and I'll send those copies out as well. But I'm thankful for just the gift to be able to do so. And my heart desire is that it just really will bless someone to just affirm who they are in the faith and to affirm what God says about them. And so that they're not looking for the world to tell them, because we know the world will tell us, who they would want us to be or what they would want us to do, in essence, instead of going with God's will and going with God's way. But we know essentially his word leads us. His word is a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path. And so in knowing that very well, my prayer is that Self-Declarations would act as a resource to God's word and to complement God's word I had one lady tell me one time, I read it and I don't read my Bible. I said, no, ma'am, you need to read your Bible.
No. Bible
You're
first.
going against word. I said, this is to complement the word, but it should not be your only word for the day. I said, you should always read your Bible first and foremost, but then use that as supplementary to complement what you've already read. And so, but yeah, it's been a blessing, and I'm thankful and humbled by God allowed me to bring it past.
That's good. And we know you travel a lot. You're preaching and teaching all over the place constantly.
Yeah.
All over the place. How would someone contact you for a speaking engagement?
Of course, as I mentioned a little earlier, Gmail is a good contact, good means for me to get email inquiries. And that is DerrellDean@gmail.com.
Okay.
And just both my first and last name together at Gmail. And of course, I do have phone methods, so people can call as well. I'm not so lofty where I won't give out my number, but if I prefer like the email first, for those that I may not personally know that well, so just go through that channel and then I will communicate further if necessary. But yeah, absolutely, email first, and then we can coincide from there and correspond and make that happen.
Okay. And we definitely will be getting our copy of Self-Declarations real soon.
Yeah,
Definitely will be getting that, and we're looking forward to having you at the upcoming singles seminar as well. It was amazing last year, and that's why we have you back this year. We had a lot of great feedback regarding you last year. So
wow.
That's why we have you back this year, and we're excited about that.
Yes.
All right, so before we close out, can you just please give our viewers just a few more words of encouragement for those who are still single, who are out there, just to help them continue in their journey, in their purpose, and during this wait and waiting for their spouse?
All right. Yes, I'll gladly do so. To those that are single, I simply tell you, firstly, continue to seek God, continue to pray, continue to seek direction for yourself internally. Also, work on you. You're the best project you could ever work on. And so always work on yourself, work on your heart, and work on just your nature all together individually. And is that something that happens overnight? No, it's not. It's not quick, and it's not that fast. But as you work on yourself, you will notice the gradual changes. You will notice what God is doing in your life, and seek other people that have been where you are, and seek after help for those that are, single and having frustrating moments. I have them. And so I seek after people that, have been where I am, and I ask for advice. I ask for wisdom, because in all things, no matter where you are in life, always seek after godly wisdom that would help you and able to handle what you're up against. And by having that wisdom, by having that direction, it ushers you into a better position to be able to proceed and move forward. And so, and never give up on possibilities as well. I say that too as well to those that are single, because just what we may look at as a chance meeting may be something that, God may have set up for you. And just keep your eyes open. Of course, we know the Bible is clear that, he that findeth a wife findeth a good thing. And so as far as a male's perspective, keep your eyes open to the one that God is, speaking to you about, that God is leaning you towards and leading you towards. And sometimes you may be leaning in the direction of the very one that, God may have for you, but you may not know it, just because your own blinders. And so sometimes even just daily pray, Lord, open my eyes to be able to see the exact one that you have destined for me. And in doing that, I feel that, you will be better positioned to be in the light, to have just what you desire. For some, that may be your desire to be alone. And I mean, even though you're alone, you're not lonely. And I want to make that clear as well, because a lot of people feel that just because they are by themselves, they are lonely, and that's not the case. And so if you are alone, sometimes use that time for whatever you've always desired to do, because you may be able to climb mountains where, somebody else would hold you down on the ground. But you may be able to, run through valleys where, a whole crew of people may not be able to do it at the same time. And so just seek after, God's will for your life as a single person, and, definitely look to the Holy Spirit to comfort you and guide you as well. In the down times, in the moments where you may feel a little upset or may feel a little sad, pray in the Spirit, talk to God, and, watch the difference it'll make. And watch God, usher you and comfort you, because he is a God of all comfort. And because he's a God of all comfort, that same comfort that he gave all those others who believe, he'll do the same for you. And so live in comfort, pray, seek God, seek wise counsel, seek wisdom, and watch the difference it'll make. And just be you, enjoy life. Enjoy life. And this is all we get. I'm gonna live all my life. I'm gonna live it all.
Yes.
I'm gonna live it up to where when I leave, I'm done. I'm done. I don't want to come back. but just enjoy these moments. Enjoy life. Laugh, have fun. Take yourself to the movies sometimes. Go to the movies. Enjoy just the time to yourself, and it blesses you in the long run to be able to do that. To say, you know what, yeah, I did that. And to say personally, I was able to accomplish A, B, and C. And in doing that, you better, suit yourself for whoever God is preparing and designed for you. You better suit yourself for that person to say, you know what, I am somebody without you, but I'll be even greater with you as well. But I am somebody as God has blessed me to be that.
That's good. That's
Very
good.
good. Very
That's
good,
good.
Mr.
That's
Dean.
good.
Thank you again.
Yes,
Thank you so
thank
much again for joining us tonight and just sharing yourself and sharing who you are. We really do appreciate you a lot.
You're very welcome. Very welcome.
We truly appreciate you for tuning in with us tonight to WYTV7 Christian Broadcasters Network. We would love to hear back from you. Please feel free to contact us, leave a review for prayer, or to receive additional resources. You may contact us at our website, marriagesofthekingdom.com. Again, that's marriagesofthekingdom.com. Email us at marriagesofthekingdom@gmail.com. Again, that's marriagesofthekingdom@gmail.com. Or on our Facebook page, Marriages of the Kingdom with Adrian and Nicole, or simply call us 1-864-553-8643. Again, that's 1-864-553-8643. Again, you can reach us at that number. Until next week, please be intentional
about your marriage.